Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam everyone. We are going on to the seventh Anuvaka of Sri Rudram. I'll just give an overview of the Anuvakam, and then we'll proceed. Sri Rudradhyaye Saptamonuvakaha. Shri Rudradhyaye Saptamonuvakaha. This is the seventh Anuvaka of Sri Rudra. This Anuvaka consists of 16 Yajus mantras. As I had mentioned before, Yaju stands for prose. So these are metrical, they are on a separate meter, each of the Anuvakas. So they're metrical prose in specific meters. In this Anuvaka also, the Namaha is only once. It's at the beginning of the mantra. The mantras demonstrate the overlordship or Sarvantaryami, means one who is within everything in this creation. That theme continues. So we will look at the Anuvaka and the mantras. Namo Dundubhyaya Chahananyaya Cha. Namo Dundubhyaya Chahananyaya Cha. Namo Dundubhyaya Chahananyaya Cha. In terms of meaning, it's reasonably simple. There are no aspirated except Dub, Dundub, which is the fourth letter in the Pa Varga. Dub. Other than that, the mantra is without any aspirated consonants. We look at the meaning. Namaha salutation. Dundubhyaya. Dundubhyaya is the fourth noun form of the simple noun Dundubhyaha. Okay, Dundubhyaha. Dundubi means it's a drum. Actually, you can see the sound itself, dum, dum, you understand. That itself demonstrates this. Sometimes in Sanskrit we will find words which symbolize the sound form also, so which is basically the drum. Okay, so the meaning the Bhashyakara has given is one who is in the drum. Who is the drum? Also, you can say. Dundubhya. The next word has a sandhi, cha ahananyaya. So it's cha plus ahananyaya. Ahananyaya is the fourth noun form or fourth vibhakti of the simple noun ahananyaha. Ahananyaha. Ahananyaha is the one, the stick or the drumstick which beats on the drum. So the drum is the Lord, or in the drum the Lord is and he's also in the stick which beats the drum. That's the meaning. So the one who is in the drum and one who is in the drumstick. As you know, Shiva is supposed to have a Dhamaru also. He's also called Dhamaru Natha. Means one who is producing that sound from the drum. Now we will look at a small excerpt from Swami's, and then we will continue the discussion. Why is the Lord called the drum? Shiva is considered to be one who wields the Dhamaru and Trishul, which symbolize sound and time respectively. Just like Vishnu's conch, Shiva's Dhamaru symbolizes sound. In the same way, Shiva's Trishul and Vishnu's Chakra symbolize that they are masters of time. Shiva's Trishul symbolizes unity of three periods of time: past, present, and future. The Dhamaru signifies sound. I think we have already discussed that sound is also the first thing in creation itself. Even in Western science, they say Big Bang. So the sound also, it keeps rhythm. So it also symbolizes time. Just the way our hearts beat. So in the heartbeat also you can say what is actually that is beating. It's the Lord. So everything in the creation actually has a vibration, which is actually nothing but a beating. All that is the one who is the drum and one who is the one who beats is also. That's why Shiva is also called Kala, time. So that's the understanding of this meaning. Dundubhyaya Chahananyaya Namaha. We'll go to the next. And you should understand Dundubhi also, when the battlefield, also the drums are beaten. So one who calls for the battle to be waged is also Dundubhi. Next mantra is Namo Drishnave Cha Pramarshaya Cha. Namo Drishnave Cha Pramarshaya Cha. Namo Drishnave Cha Pramarshaya Cha. In this, the first letter in the Drishnave is the fourth letter of the third varga, so it has to be aspirated. Dr, okay, Drishnave. Drish is cerebral, sh, so the tongue pointing upwards, sh. Those are the two we have to, and Pramru, Pramrushaya. It's a Rikara comes, okay. Otherwise, the pronunciation is reasonably simple. We look at the meaning. Namaha salutation, Drishnave. Okay, Drishnave is the fourth noun form of the simple noun Drishnuhu. Okay, Drishnuhu means one who is very bold. One who does not turn away from any fight, battle. So the Lord is considered to be the most bold one. He just proceeds with any battle without turning back. When we look at the meanings, we can look at some later on. Swami is giving some meanings, because Swami himself also calls the life itself is a battle. We have to fight to the end. So that means there are many challenges, difficulties which come. One should not give up. One should face it boldly and fight. Okay, so the Shiva stands for that, to be not turning away and giving up. Okay, so that's Drishnu. So that ability in us also to face any challenges is symbolized by the Drishnu, who is Shiva, who is within us also. Next word is Pramrishaya. Pramrishaha is the simple noun. Pramrishaya is the fourth form of that. Pramrishaha means one who assesses and considers all aspects. Actually, the word mrish means to touch, to feel. Okay, to find out by, finding things, touching and feeling and finding out. So that means who assesses all aspects. Pra stands for something which covers everything. So Pramrisha means one who evaluates, assesses all situations, and then, though he's bold, we also should take into consideration every aspect of what we are facing with. So both are looked at. So one who is bold also should take into consideration everything, all aspects of what has to be dealt with. There's another meaning. Pramrisha means one who not only fights in the front, one who also encompasses, also is a meaning which has been given. So who is circumspect, means that he will cover all aspects and fight. So the Lord also stands for all those two qualities of one being able to face, but sometimes the enemies can surround us. So one should be able to also circumspect them and deal with all the challenges. The qualities, the negative qualities, Swami says it's always a war. I think we read, if you read Sandeha Nivarani or other Vahini, so Swami will say the bad qualities in us, there's an internal battle which goes on, and one has to be facing them boldly, and also take into consideration all aspects of the deviousness of the mind and the qualities which can defeat us. So that should be the fight, and the Lord is there through and through with us, and He's the one who fights the battle on our behalf, internal as well as external. So He is Drishnu. Namo Drishnave cha Pramrishaya cha. We look at the next mantra. Namo Dutaya cha Prahitaya cha. Namo Dutaya cha Prahitaya cha. Namo Dutaya cha Prahitaya cha. All the letters are simpler. There are no aspirated sounds, so it should be okay. We'll look at the meaning. Nama salutation. Dutaya. Dutaya means to dutaha. That's Dutaya is the fourth form of the simple noun Dutaha. Dutaha means a messenger, one who delivers the message. Okay, so we say the Lord is the one who delivers the message, but we should also understand the Lord is the one who is a messenger of peace also. Like Krishna, before the yuddha, before the fight, goes as a messenger. Okay. See, one of the aspects of fighting on a battle is you also should take into consideration all aspects of by talking peace, and that also has to be attempted, and the Lord does that also. So He's always a messenger of peace. He tries to bring change by just discussion, sending the message, or delivering the message. And He also delivers the message of us that the life is impermanent also in many ways. So He's the one who gives us the message. Okay, who delivers the message is Duta. So Namo Dutaya. Prahitaya. So Prahitaya is the fourth form of the simple noun Prahitaha. Prahitaha. Hita, I think we have already looked at. Hita means that's welfare, one who wishes the welfare is one who is Hita. Hitaha. Okay, Prahitaha means who is always concerned about all welfare of all is Prahitaha. There are many meanings given to Prahitaha, but I picked this one because this seems to suit the Duta, because the one who sends the message is also he thinks about the welfare of the one who is being fought with also, and who is also fighting. So Krishna, though he took the Pandavas, said both Duryodhana and the Pandavas approached him, and before that he had also gone as a messenger. So the Lord always wants the welfare of everyone, and that is why he becomes a messenger also. And he's ready to fight also the evil. We'll just look at a few excerpts from Swami's discourses. The Gita is the authentic messenger of God. It conveys his message in clear, convincing fullness. It is the mother's comforting counsel for mankind. Grasping it, man can swim safe across the storm-ridden sea of life. It is the surest guide to the sadhaka. It is a mine of mantras. It is an ever-active fountain of Vedantic truths. It is the royal road to victory for seekers of freedom. It renders the road a path of flowers. So the Lord is always giving us a message. He is always teaching. That is the Lord Duta. Okay. And he also looks over the welfare. He wants everyone to swim safe across a storm-ridden sea of life. Another excerpt also from Swami's discourse, which more or less says same thing. This is the message that I bring, the message that will confer strength, peace, hope, and fulfillment. This message surely is hita, beneficial, though it may not be priya, pleasing. A patient has to take drugs and put himself through a regimen that is beneficial. He cannot ask for only sweet medicines and comfortable regimen which please him. The doctor knows best. He has to be obeyed for the sake of recovery. The ministers of Ravana spoke only what was pleasing to him. They were afraid, and so they proved dangerous counselors. Vibhishana, the brother, alone gave him the beneficial drug, the drug which would have cured him. But since it was not Priya, Ravana rejected it and fell into perdition. The Vedas and the Shastras, since they were won by penance and travail by sages and seers who were interested only in the welfare of humanity and the liberation of man, are the greatest repositories of Gita. So, the Veda is the message. We just looked at the previous quote. Gita is the message. So the Veda is what the Lord spoke and the rishis heard. So that was the message. And they are the repositories of all that is Hita. So you can say Dutaya cha Prahitaya cha. So the Lord is the one who does this. And so that is being extolled in the mantra Namo Dutaya cha Prahitaya cha. We will go to the next mantra. Namo Nishangine Cheshudhimate cha. Namo Nishangine Cheshudhimate cha. Namo Nishangine Cheshudhimate cha. These are mantras. I think we have come across similar mantras. I think the first Anuvaka also. Nisha, the sha is cerebral sha. Nishangine Cheshu. Okay, again the same sha, which is cerebral sha, and dhi is the fourth letter in the tha varga, so it has to be aspirated. Cheshuddhi mate. Okay, Cheshuddhi mate. Namo Nishangine Cheshuddhi mate cha. Cheshuddhi mate cha. We look at the meaning. I think we have looked at. I think it's just revision, I would say, but it can mean slightly different things in different. So as we can see in this chapter, in this Anuvaka, it's all about war, battling the bad. Okay. So Namaha is salutation. Nishangine is the fourth form of the simple noun Nishangi. Nishangi means one who wields a sword. Nisha means sword. Angi means one who has it in his hand. Angam is a limb. So the sword becomes something which he holds in his limb, which is hand. So the Lord is the one who wields the sword, who is a Nishangi. So to that Lord we bow down. We have given a lot of meaning about what is sword. I think we'll just look at one. Ishudhimate is the next word name, which is the fourth form of the simple noun Ishudhiman. Okay, Ishuddhi. Ishu means arrow. Ishuddhi means the quiver of arrow, which is the container, the holder of the arrows, the quiver. Ishuddhiman means one who has that quiver of arrows with him. Okay, who is endowed with Ishuddhi, is Ishuddhiman. Okay, the Lord always has arrows. Okay, and he wields the sword. I think we have looked at it before. How the Lord deals with the world with these quiver of arrows, which are antidote for all ailments, all evils in this world. Okay, they are all protective forces. We'll just look at meaning. One excerpt from Swami's discourse. But man has to recognize the preciousness of time. Not even a fraction of a second should be wasted. He must be engaged always in the investigation of his own truth and his own duty to himself. Life is dripping away, drop by drop, from the leaking pot. Time hangs over every head like a sharp sword, ready to inflict the mortal slash. But man pays no attention to this ever-present calamity. So Swami says the sword is also talking about it's slicing our life every minute. So we already looked at Dundub, Mark's time. He always gives the message that we should save ourselves. So time also stands for sword also stands for time, which is ticking away and which can any day completely annihilate us. So that's why the Lord is called Kala also. Okay. And the sword also has a meaning which I have not put, which I think it's from previous excerpts. Sword is actually a sword of discrimination. So the Lord is the one who wields that also. And the thoughts are considered arrows. So the good thoughts are the antidote for all evil things. Thoughts of God also. So the every name is also an arrow, name of God. So there are multiple ways we can look at this. Okay, we will go to the next mantra. Namastikshneshave chayudhine cha. Namastikshneshave chayudhine cha. Namastikshneshave chayudhine cha. This is mantra which lots of aspirated and difficult sounds to produce, which normally we may not use. Tiksh, again, again, cerebral raksha, tikshne sha, again, the same sha, tikshne shave, chayudhi, again, dha is the fourth letter in the third varga, so it has to be aspirated. Namastikshne shave, chayudhine cha. The meaning, let's look at Namaha salutation. Tikshne shave. Tikshne shave is the fourth form or the fourth vibhakti of the simple noun Tikshne shuhu. Tikshne shuhu. Okay. Tikshneshu is actually, that's a sandhi which I will not put down here, but I hope you can follow it. There are two words, Tikshna and Ishuhu. Okay, Tikshna, and E becomes A. Okay, that's a sandhi. Tikshne shave. Tikshna ishave. Okay, Tikshna Ishuhu. Okay, Tikshna means very sharp. And Tamil they'll say Tirtina. Tikshna. Tikshna Ishuhu. Ishuhu is arrow. One who possesses that issue is Tikshna issue, or he is the sharp arrow also. Okay. Both ways it can be taken. Okay. Tikshna issue means one whose arrow is sharp, one who is the sharp arrow. Okay. And the next one is Chayudhine. It's a sandhi. Cha plus A becomes Cha Yudhine. So its Cha is and. Ayudhine is the fourth form of the simple noun Ayudhin. Okay, Ayudhin. I think many of you know Ayudha means weapon. Ayudha means weapon. Ayudhin means one who has weapons. One who possesses weapons is Ayudhin. So one who wields many weapons is the meaning which is given. So the Lord has sharp arrows, or he is the sharp arrow, and he also wields many weapons. Okay, that's what it is. That's the meaning. Salutation, the one whose arrow is sharply pointed, and one who wields many weapons. Okay. Tikshnesha means it's also said that when Shiva went to fight the Tripura, okay, three forts, the Rakshasas were living in those three forts, Vishnu became the arrow. Okay, Vishnu became the arrow which Shiva is supposed to wield. So the Lord has those two weapons, all kinds of weapons, and his arrows are very sharp. I don't have an excerpt for this, but I think later on you can see the meaning. We can look at the next mantra. Namaswayudhaya cha sudhanvane cha. Namaswayudhaya cha sudhanvane cha. Namaswayudhaya cha sudhanvane cha. In terms of pronunciation, Swayudha. Okay, Dha again is the fourth letter in the Tha Varga, so it has to be aspirated. And Sudha again is the same Dha, which is the fourth letter in the Tha Varga, has to be aspirated. Namaswayudhaya cha sudhanvane cha. We look at the meaning. Nama salutation. Swayudhaya is the fourth vibhakti again of the simple noun Swayudaha. Okay. Swayudhaya namaha means to Swayudaha, our salutation. Okay. Swayudaha, I have shown sandhi here. Su plus Ayudaha becomes Swayudaha. Su plus Ayudaha. So Su means that which is auspicious, that's divine. Something which is the best also is Su. But I have taken the meaning as auspicious. Su Ayudaha. So that means he possesses very auspicious weapons. Okay, that will grant auspiciousness, not any kind of weapons. Swayudaha, we already said Chayudhine. Okay, Ayudhine, we have already said one who possesses weapons. What are his weapons? They are Suayudaha. They are auspicious weapons. Okay, so Swayudhaya Namaha. The next word is Sudhanvane. Sudhanvane is again fourth form of now simple noun. Sudhanva. Sudhanva means Dhanu Dhanush is bow. Okay, so Dhanva means one who possesses. Dhanvano, Dhanva. And Sudhanva means one whose bow is auspicious, who holds the auspicious bow. So we talked about weapons and fight, but the rishis are declaring, or the Lord is telling the rishis, actually the Lord is possessing Suayudaha, Sudhanvaha. So his weapons are also very auspicious. So that means they create auspiciousness. Okay. So salutations to the one whose weapons are auspicious and one whose bow is also auspicious. Namaswayudhaya cha Sudhanvane cha. Yes, Brother Kumar.
Brothers, Aruna, isn't it? It's both means the same whether you say Swayudaya or Sudhanvane, because it's auspicious weapon.
Yes.
That itself is only Lord is holding. Then saying that again, I don't know. I'm just saying because isn't it that self-defeat? I mean,
yeah, it's a repetition. I think that's your question. Why is this repetition? See, my understanding is bow actually doesn't is the one which not go and hit. Bow is the one from which you send a weapon. So Ayuda can be whatever is sent from a bow. That's my understanding. So what is the origin of the weapon is also auspicious. The weapon is also auspicious. I think we have also looked at earlier on the mind, the body, all of them are also considered from where everything originates. So actually some of these mantras means your mind should be pure. If the mind is the bow from which the arrow of thoughts go. So both have to be pure. Actually the vessel and the, so I think there are, in everywhere you can see there's a pair actually, all these mantras are coming. They're complementary is my understanding. So Ayudha means sword, arrow is auspicious, but the bow from which it is sent is also auspicious. So when the bow is auspicious, every arrow which is sent is also auspicious. That's the way I look at. So if our mind is pure, every thought which emanates and which when it goes as a word, that also will be auspicious. So it is just there's some amount of poetry also in what the rishis have done. Because they're seeing this creation actually in this the entire Rudram is actually looking at everything in creation and calling it auspicious. So you are going to have multiple, but the way I understand the bow is the place from where you send an arrow. So I think we can take it in that sense, I guess, but I don't know whether that's convincing or not. So I thought I will just give that. That's my understanding, not necessarily the only understanding and the right understanding. Okay, I hope. Thanks. Because there are many of these mantras are also repeated, like Nishangini, Shuddhimate previously. But I think each of them have the commentators say different context they have been used, and we should understand that the mantras are also they have multiple levels of meaning and effect. So they also understand, like just the way we take the same medicine in every day. So every name is also medicine. So I think you will see variety, repetition in the mantra. But I think the rishis felt it's okay to repeat. Okay to repeat in slightly different way so that our mind is not bored, I guess. I think that's the way I understand. But I think for someone who has only one name is good enough. There's entire Rudram, people will say Namah Shivaya is enough. That itself is auspiciousness. So I will just stop here. Thank you very much, brother. We will look at an excerpt of Swami's. Wherever you go, qualities like untruth, unkindness, hatred, and jealousy are becoming prominent. At such a time, students like you, armed with weapons of kindness, forbearance, love, and patience, must enter society and bring about a social transformation. You should give happiness to your parents. In the traditions of our country, it is said that you should give happiness to your father and to your mother. Only when you're able to do this will you have achieved something. It's only when you can put such ideals into practice will you have learned something. Students, boys and girls, you should do all your work with the thought of God in your mind. I think Swami has covered mind and thought. Swayudhine Sudhanvane. He's talking about home, where you serve your parents, and then when you go out, you can bring about change in the society. So the same concepts, at home everything should be good. Inside us, we should be good. Then only what goes out will be good. Both have to be good. Inside home should be good. The society should be good. Our mind should be good. The thought should be good. So I think everything, this double is covered. It's just like, if everything is divine, then what is there for us to do? That's also something which would say, no, there is always a constant battle between what is not the right and what is right, what is good and what is not so good. So I think that's creation. So I think Swami has told what is Swayudha Sudhanva very nicely here. Thank you. I think we will move on to the next mantra. I think just to talk about what Brother Kumar had asked. See, in the atom, there is a proton, and then there is neutron, and there is electron. All of them have their role. One is passive, one is active. So both have their auspiciousness. Shiva and Shakti. There's always this Purusha and Prakriti. That's the way the rishis saw this creation. One which is fixed, the other one which is active. So the dhanu, the bow doesn't move, but the arrow moves. And that's creation, the duality in this world. So we will go to the next mantra. Namas Srutyaya cha Patyaya cha. Namas Srutyaya cha Patyaya cha. Namas Srutyaya cha Patyaya cha. Srutyaya, I think, should be simpler enough to pronounce. The second word, Pat, the second and the third is the second letter in the third varga. So, it, Srutyaya cha, Patyaya cha. So, you can just pay attention to that. We look at the meaning. Nama salutation. Srutyaya. Srutyaya is the fourth vibhakti of the simple noun. Srutyaha. Srutyaha. Srutyaha means something which is narrow. Okay, narrow path. A narrow path is mentioned by Srutyaha. So the Lord is the narrow path. You can say he is of the narrow path. Means the narrow path belongs to him. He is in the narrow path. Multiple ways you can take each of these mantras. Okay, he is that. This belongs to him, or he is in that. All three meanings come in each of these mantras. Okay, so one who is of the narrow path. Okay, the path. So he is in the narrow path also. So we look at what is this narrow path. Patyaya is the fourth form of the simple noun Patyaha. Okay, we have looked at this earlier on. Pathinam Pataye Namaha, like Pati Nam Pati means they have different ways, roadways are called Pati. Okay. So Patyaha means one who is of the wider path or roadway. It's a highway, you can say. Okay, something like our roadways. Royal road, Raja Marga also is something which is said in Sanskrit literature, spiritual literature. Swami also repeats it often. So the salutation is the one who is of the narrow path and who is of the wide roadway. So it seems very conflicting. He is in the narrow lanes, byways, and he is also in the main street. But I think we look at the excerpts, because what makes it narrow path? It is advisable to all to allow the middle path. Okay, so we should all follow the middle path. Ati sarvatra varjayet. Okay, Ati sarvatra varjayet is an ancient axiom. It means avoid excess in all places. You must respect the limits, I think. Okay. Avoid all excesses in all places. You must respect the limits set by the experience of ages in the sacred texts. They act like embankments that curb the flood waters. They direct the raging passions towards the harmless channels and save you from ruin. Of course, man has elementary needs, physical, mental, and intellectual. These have to be fulfilled in some measure. But there's no need to encumber oneself with unwanted food, superfluous furniture, multi-roomed mansions. Luxury enervates and enslaves. Leaders of people have to set an example in this respect. For men usually try to imitate and emulate. Example is more effective than precept. An ounce of practice is worth more than a ton of preaching. That's why I declare my life is my message. You must transform your lives into examples of the ideal you preach. So the middle path is narrow because there are embankments on both sides, so that we do not deviate from the right path. And in whatever we do, so that's the narrow path. But the narrow path also becomes a highway. Okay, the same narrow path is also the highway. The best road, well paved, no difficulties. So it's a highway which is actually narrow because of the limitations and the disciplines which the sacred texts have imposed on an aspirant. I think I repeated this. Okay, so then there is another excerpt. The mud road is the karma marga, road of activity. The metal road is the upasana marga, road of worship, contemplation. And the asphalt road is jnana marga, road of divine knowledge and wisdom. Join the jnana marga soon, then there will be no dust. So Swami is talking about the three margas. Everyone talks about karma marga, bhakti marga, jnana marga. All of them are different ways. And he says just karma alone is a path where it's dusty road. Okay, where the dust can come up. So then one has to tread the upasana marga, which is asphalted road. The metal road, which is a bit more better than the karma marga. Then he says jnana is the raja marga. So these are pathways. Actually, when all three are combined together, that is the best path. The karma should be done with bhakti as well as jnana. And once everything is entwined, and that becomes a royal road. So it's Srutyaya Patyaya Cha. Nama Rudraya Shrutyaya Patyaya Cha. I thought that will be nice. We'll go to the next mantra. Namah Khatyaya Cha Nipyaya Cha. Namah Khatyaya Cha Nipyaya Cha. Namah Khatyaya Cha Nipyaya Cha. In terms of pronunciation, there are no aspirated sounds here. So it should be fairly simpler to chant. I will look at the meaning now. Nama salutation, Khatyaya. Khatyaya is the fourth vibhakti of the simple noun Khatyaha. Okay. Khatyaha means it refers to a narrow stream. Okay, maybe a rivulet, a small creek, also you can say. So a small flow of water is Khatya. The Lord is of that also. Okay, now from we can see from battle we went to roads and ways, and now the mantras are dealing with waterways. Okay, Khatya, so it's a narrow stream. Is of the narrow stream. Nipyaya is one who is a cascading river. Nipya means that which falls, like a waterfall, or the water comes flow, falling down in big gush. So you can see the rishi is also saw a small rivulet and they saw the Lord. They saw waterfall also and saw the Lord. These are different ways, because stream and water is also given a lot of importance in the spiritual tradition, because the waters are all rushing towards the ocean, which is the Lord, to go and merge. Even a stream also goes and ends one day. Even a gushing waterfall, cascading waters also are rushing towards the Lord, towards the ocean. So they saw the divinity there also. So in that also they saw divinity. So I've not given an excerpt, but I think there will be excerpts at the end of this series of mantras which all talk about different forms of water. The next mantra is Nama Sudhyaya Cha Sarasyaya Cha. Nama Sudhyaya Cha Sarasyaya Cha. Nama Sudhyaya Cha Sarasyaya Cha. There are no aspirated sounds here. Okay, this Idya is the third letter in the Varga, so it is not aspirated. Okay, Sudhyaya Sarasyaya Cha. So we just pay attention that you don't make it aspirated sound. Sudhyaya Cha Sarasyaya Cha. We look at the meaning. Salutation Namaha. Sudhyaya is the fourth noun form of the simple noun Sudhyaha. Sudhyaha. Sudhyaha means marshy waters, where water remains always mixed with mud or sand. So marshy lands are referred as Sudhyaha. So the Lord is present in this water which is not flowing, and it doesn't seem to flow, but it's a marshy land. There also the Lord is. The next one is Sarasyaya. It's the fourth noun form of the word Sarasyaha. Sarasya, Saras means lake, a vast body of water. Okay, one who is the lake, like Manasa Sarovar. Manasa Sarovar. That also Sara means lake. Sarovara means the best lake. And it's supposed to be Kailash, Manasa Sarovar. So the mind is also considered to be Sarovar. Okay. Mind is called Manasa Sarovar. The marsh is, it's even in the cloudy waters of our mind also the Lord is present. The Lord is present even in that. So one who is in the marsh and one who is in the lake. Salutation to him. So the Lord, whether we have marshy mind or whether we have pure, clear mind, but the Lord is present in both. Just the way He is present in all kinds of things in this world. Okay, so that's the meaning of this. But because the water is actually Lord, so He is present in everything. The water of life. Okay, we'll look at the next mantra, and then I have a few excerpts. Namo Nadyaya cha Vaishantaya cha. Namo Nadyaya cha Vaishantaya cha. Namo Nadyaya cha Vaishantaya cha. There are no aspirated words as consonants, so should be simpler. Again, Nadya is again third. Yeah. So there's no aspiration. Okay, Nadyaya cha Vaishantaya cha. Namaha salutation. Nadyaya is the fourth noun form of the simple noun Nadya. Okay. As you can see, Nadya means one who is of the river. Nadi is river. So the word Nadya comes from that root, Nadi, which is a river, normal river which we all call Nadi. Okay, so that's a river which flows towards the ocean. The next one is Vaishantaya cha. Okay, Vaishantaya is the fourth noun form of the simple noun Vaishantaha. Vaishantaha. Vaishanta is a pond. Vaishantha means one who is of the pond, or he is the pond. So you can see all forms of water bodies are covered by these mantras. And they're like the river, the cascading river, the waterfalls, the small stream, and the muddy marsh, the lake, the small ponds, and the river. Everything is seen as the Lord. And in creation, every type of thing, every type of water body is the Lord. And that's the meaning, because the water also signifies prana, life force, water, element. So he is present in all of them. The prana as life force itself. And that is Rudra. And that's the way the rishis saw everything. We'll just look at an excerpt from this systemic case.
The salutation one who is Mash, I think the former.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you very much, sister. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so you look at the excerpts. Life is a mighty river, and desires constitute its water. Thoughts are the innumerable little waves in this river. Aspirations are the crocodiles that abound in it, and illusions are its whirlpools. Only a yogi can cross such a terrible river, as he alone has gained control over the modifications of the mind. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha, as Patanjali says. The flow of water in an ordinary river may increase or decrease, but the river of life, with ever multiplying rivers as its water, knows no decrease. It may become so wide as to be boundless expanse of uncontrollable turbulent waters. To cross such a river, therefore, a boat is absolutely necessary. Om, the name of God, is the boat that takes you across this river. The ancient rishis had crossed the turbulent river of life with the help of the boat of Pranava with ease. Pranava has the power to save the world from Pralaya, great deluge. So the rivers are also seen by Swami saying they are all the world creation, and within that the Rishi saw the Lord as the boat which takes them across. So one who is able to see the God within those waters will be able to travel without any fear, and which also is the battle of the various kinds of challenges which all of us face. So you can see the river is nothing but the battle of life, samsara, and the ocean also can be samsara sagara, but it also can become the milky ocean. That is the difference. Both are oceans. The rivers also can be positive as well as negative. Okay? The flow of devotion is also flow, a river. Swami's every writing, so it's called Vahini, Prema Vahini, Jnana Vahini, Swami has written. That means each of them is a river. Okay, the flow of Prema. So these rivers can be made positive by seeing the divine in them. Is something which I thought is very nice. Another excerpt of Swami's discourse. Many people think of God only when grief overtakes them. Of course, it is good to do so. It is better than seeking help of those who are also equally liable to grief. But it is infinitely better to think of God in grief and in joy, in peace and strife, in all weathers. The proof of the rain is in the wetness of the ground. The proof of devotion is in the peace that the devotee has, peace that protects them against the onslaught of success as well as failure, fame, dishonor, gain, and loss. Devotion is the river Ganga. Detachment is the river Yamuna. And spiritual wisdom Jnana is the river Saraswati. Of this spiritual confluence of three rivers, Triveni. So Swami has, talked about the rivers of life with all the negatives in the previous excerpt. Here he is telling the rivers of bhakti, jnana, and spiritual wisdom. Okay, so that's the life, and the rishis saw divinity in the challenges of the world, in the creation, and they were able to go and be in touch with the divine by these mantras, and hopefully we also benefit with these mantras to make everything in this world divine and find the divinity even within that which is not. Swami would say the muddy waters from which only the panka and the lotus comes out. So even from there, the divinity blossoms as the lotus panka. So all that is described by these, and it's all a battle. And Swayudha, with the auspicious weapons, one can fight this battle. And the Lord is the battler, one who does the battle on our behalf, or he's the charioteer who takes us in that path of battle so that we reach the final destination. So those are my thoughts on this day, Christmas Eve. It's 10 o'clock. I will just pause here, stop here. If there are any questions, and if I know the answer, I will share with you. Saira. Yes, Brother Vimalesan.
Sorry, Saira. Just a couple of questions. I will ask everything all together, and then you can whatever.
Okay.
No, first of all, I would like to know how. Not just curious. How do you select the relevant excerpts to the slokas? I'd like to know that if you can. This thing. The other thing is that swara. When we chant the swara at some places, it may be the importance of swara because the meaning changes maybe at somewhere, and apart from that, it's what's other significance? It's for the Namo. you said it's a sound of science, so it's simply that. Maybe other than that, no, this we have discussed before also, but if you can throw any new light on it, I would like to know, because as we try to more and more chant like that, the question comes. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. So I think the first question is you ask about the excerpts of Swami's discourse.
Yeah, how do you select the suitable ones? On what?
See, what happened? Sometimes I remember some discourses when I read these mantras. Then I look for them and find it and put number one. Number two, I also do searches and find out certain mantras and read them, study them, and see which appeals to me and then pick up. So that's the way I'm doing. So what happens is when the mantra is, I study the mantra, I read the bhashyas. And there are 4 bhashyas I consult. One is Shayana, the other one is Bhatta Bhaskara, the other one is Abhinava Shankara, and the last one is Skanda. These are the 4 which I consult. There's another one called Vishnu Suri. And some of them, and some of these bhashyas are very vast in the sense, like Abhinava Shankara writes a lot, Bhatta Bhaskara writes a lot. And sometimes they give multiple meanings also for one of the words. For me too, so each mantra then we can discuss for one session. I think it's a bit too much. So what I do is I pick what is appealing to me, what sort of strikes a chord in me, number one. Number two, then I remember, because in the past several years or decades, I have read or listened to Swami's discourses, so I get reminded of something which Swami has spoken. Then I go looking for it and find it. So that's what I am doing. So you can say, I have picked discourses which appeal to me, and I have also given the places from where I have accepted, because ideally you should go and read each of those discourses. So because I like this exercise of Rudram study, because it helped me also go revise, reread some of Swami's discourses and contemplate on it. Sometimes I'm trying to do too much, but that's the way I pick up, brother. And by Swami's grace, I should say, I stumble on the right passages which help me understand this meaning.
Okay.
So that is that. Then the second question you asked about the swara, the meaning, the words, all that. See, there are 3 things. See, this is my understanding. There are 3 dimensions of a mantra. One is the feeling. What the feeling which you feel in your heart. The second one is the meaning which you contemplate, the mind dwells on. The third one is external sound itself. Okay, so there are 3 dimensions to a mantra, and the Vedas have actually, the rishis have been able to weave all these 3 together in one place. See, for example, if you're eating a food, eating some dish, there's a nutrition, then there's taste, the nutrition, and then there's medicine. Okay, nutrition is at the physical level, it will strengthen you. The medicine is will remove your diseases, and then there is taste also, which is actually pleasant. So the mantras are all defined like that. So they go in parallel. So the sound also goes parallelly, the meaning also goes parallelly, the bhava also go parallelly, and the mantras are embedded in such a way that we cannot understand or remove them also. And so, for example, the blood flows in our body, the nutrition flows, the oxygen flows. Actually, they have their own different mechanisms, but when you put them all together, then it becomes a physical body which is functioning. So the same way, I think the mantras are energized in 3 different dimensions. It's very difficult for us to understand how they are together functioning. That's the challenge. And each of them individually, we can say, oh, this is the benefit. Like we can say oxygen has this benefit, or protein has this benefit. But taking them alone doesn't solve the problem. So I will say, if you take an apple, you can't put everything and create an apple, because only God is capable of creating the apple. But in the apple, there's something's thrown, then there's nutrition, it can grow again. All that is also there. So I think each mantra is like that. So actually, if you look at so there are people who have studied how the swaras go. If you look at Rudram, there's a pattern. So, up, down, down, 1, 2, 3, like that. There are people have studied just the science of sound itself. So that is one stream. Then to that, you add another layer of words, which is padam, which has meaning. Underneath that, there is bhava, feeling of devotion. When all combine together, that becomes a very wholesome, it has a wholesome effect. That's my understanding. So that is why it is very difficult for us to understand why is this?
Right.
So, okay. So for example, if we take an orange, why is the color orange? Why is that tasting like that? Then what is the nutrition? Why God has put that? Only He knows, because the science is so vast that we will not be able to touch it. Science can become, we can dissect and say, oh, it has this, but it is much more than that. We don't even understand why orange is orange color, why is apple in a certain color, why is banana yellow. But the yellow color also has an impact. But no, science has not understood that. They may say the leaves have chlorophyll, the green color is chlorophyll, that we have our skins have melanin or whatever, it absorbs certain things. Science has not even touched the surface. So it's the same thing for us also in terms of mantras. So that is why, so I think the challenge for everyone is, am I making a mistake in the swara? Am I making a wrong pronunciation? Does it mean different things? So I will say, if we sincerely try to learn and perfect, He will do the rest. Because we can't become even perfect human being, we can never become overnight. But we can try to strive to become that. I think same thing holds good, brother, for the mantras also. We can't overnight become perfect in the mantra chanting also. It's okay. But as long as I think we have that attitude of learning, trying to perfect, I think that's all matters. It is very difficult. Actually, I've also done a lot of research, in the meanings of how mantras, words are chanted. Like Panini has a full chapter on different verbs, verb forms. From verb only, the nouns also come. And he has given with accent, meaning with accent. But there are 2,000 noun verb forms, and each of the form multiple verbs, and it's an ocean to study, brother. That's all I can say. But each of them individually have their effect. Together, the effect is much more awesome. Okay, that's my understanding. But my understanding is very limited. So I'm just sharing what I have tried to research and understand and study.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
Okay, it's because you should understand that Vedas have what is called 6 Vedangas. And these Vedangas deal with all this. So that itself is a huge study. So ideally, they say it takes about 14 years to study full time, just studying Vedas and the Vedangas. And only then one can do just full justice. And what we are doing is a very amateurish attempt.
Yeah.
So
the swara chanting, we are just trying our best, but we are at the very beginning level. But still, we try to follow the with a script in front, with all the intonation marks and all that. And also there are the mantra pushpam, the 3-level, they have split the words into 3 level according to the swara. All that. So when you try to follow all that, you realize how difficult it is. But those people, but that's what even the Shruti at the beginning, they say this is for the learning only. At one time, you should be able to put the book aside and you should be able to chant. That's because it's Shruti and that's how it has been coming. So it's really beyond understanding how those who learn that way and those who chant according to the swara, even without looking at the script. So it's so difficult to understand that. That's why I asked this question.
Yeah, it is because see, even if you take a musician, brother, the Western say they will read sheet music. To learn the sheet music itself is a huge challenge. But in Indian tradition, people just sing off the top. So the thing is, it is only sheer practice. Most of these places, they go and they chant. They spend about 6-7 hours of chanting Vedam every day
Right.
in the school. After some time, it is part of your
right.
blood. That's all.
Okay.
So even music, people go and learn for years, 10 years, 14 years, and that's all they do from morning till evening.
Yeah, that's so.
Okay.
That's
See,
so.
that's why a Brahmana is supposed to spend at least 6 hours of studying or chanting.
Chanting.
But I don't know how much time we spend, and that also they do when they're very young. So those are benefits which come with practice.
Right.
I think that's my understanding. I think our sincerity, if you do, and Bhagavad Gita, Krishna assures that in our next life we will at least be born in an environment where we can learn it from young and master it. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sairam. Yes, Kalyani.
Sairam, Uncle, just a quick few questions. When for the sloka Dutaya, is that the same word when we say like Hanuman is Rama Duta?
Yes.
The same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Same. Duta is a messenger.
Yeah.
There are actually on that. I had about lots of excerpts from Swami's discourses, but then I decided not to pick too much. Basically, Swami is the messenger. Jesus is the messenger, but Jesus said, "I am myself and my Father are one." Swami says Gita is the Duta. Hanuman is also Duta. And how did Hanuman become a Duta? Because of the Ramanama. So that is why he's called the messenger. Yes, it's the same word, brother.
Okay.
Sister, yeah.
And then for Drishnave, does the word Drishna, is it similar to Dhruvam or some
Yes,
same
actually
root?
Dhrida, the sound Dhr means that which is steady, which is firm, which is full of conviction. So there are multiple meanings. So there are multiple that you understand what it's firm, determined. All that comes from the word Dhr. Okay. So yes, see, because in sound, the original sound sort of varies slightly, but the meaning doesn't change. Or allied meanings, you can say. So Dhruva, Dhrida, Drishna, all of them come from the same word.
Okay, great. And if for the one about the drum and the drumstick?
Dum Dubhyaya.
Yes. So I was just wondering, because when I think of drumstick, I just think of like Western drums and drumstick. But in like the Damaru, and is there like an Indian instrument where you use a drumstick?
I use the word drumstick because that which makes the sound come out from the drum is
Oh, okay.
Okay. What brings out, you understand? Sound is, I have used the word stick because that's what everyone uses. So it's easier to understand. But in the Damaru also, there are that thing which goes and hits and creates a sound, that is sahana. So brings the sound out.
Okay.
Okay. One is
Yes.
the drum will stay. Okay. The sound doesn't come out unless something brings out the sound. The
Right.
sound is in the drum. So, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's not a stick per se, but that I just use the word drumstick, so it's easier to, in
No,
English,
yeah.
translate. Yeah.
No, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, that makes it a lot of sense. Yeah, because he's
Yes.
in the drum and he's also what makes the sound come out of the drum.
Exactly. So you can see one is there with the sound not coming out. The other one brings it out.
Okay.
The bow is there. The arrow goes out.
Right.
So that Shiva Shakti. One is kinetic. So it's that kind
Yeah.
of a meaning. It's
It's
one
like,
is yeah.
can you think of it also like the drum is there with the potential, like, but it's unmanifest?
Exactly. So he is the one, and he's the one who can bring it out also.
Right.
So the drum is him. The one which brings out the sound is also him. Sound is also him.
Mhm.
So in all its dimensions, the divinity.
Mm.
Okay, so
Thank you, Uncle.
you're welcome. I know it's very poetic, and how because all these actually help us when we walk out into the world. We look at different things. We'll be reminded of God everywhere. Actually, that is the training of Rudra. After we understand, you go and look at a tree, you will remember Rudra. You look at a stream, you will remember Rudra. You look at a pond, you will remember Rudra. You look at a bad person, you will remember Rudra. One who is fighting, you see Rudra. You see a knife, you see Rudra. So the mantras basically make you recognize divinity in everything you see. That is the blessing of Rudra. Chanting Rudram and understanding the meaning of Rudram. Then after a while, we'll be able to see everything as divine. And that practice of seeing the divine in every situation, in everything in creation, is the blessing which Rudra gives us. Chanting it, studying it, contemplating on it, I will grant us. Okay, so those words, today we are Christmas. Jesus was the best example. He said he is the messenger. When he was crucified, also he said, "The Lord, they do not know anything. They only thought of the Lord." Life was not pleasant for him. But he fought evil with all the best weapons of his teachings, of his own life. He was able to see divinity in every situation in life, and that's why he is still worshipped as the messenger of God and God himself by many. So all this, it's nice to discuss this on such an auspicious day. Okay, Sairam everyone. If there are no questions, we will close the session with Samastaloka. Sairam Auntie, I think I made a mistake.
We also say Kadavul Sarva Vyavahar. God is everywhere and Sarva Vyavahar. But we don't look at it like devotion is Ganga, detachment is this. Like we don't mix up even opposites like concepts. We just say Sarva Vyavahar, and that's the way we look at it. But this is a different way of looking at things, like negative and positive, everything is God. That's the way it is taken, yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Happy New Year to you, okay? We won't see you.
Oh, yeah. See you all. Thank you, Auntie. I think the next session is on a New Year's Day. I don't know how many, New Year's Eve. I think we can still do it if it's okay. 31st.
We have class? I
think we will have, if everyone is okay. If anyone does not want to have, please let me know. I will not. But otherwise, we can still. So I think it's always good to think of the Lord on the New Year's Day.
Yeah, holy day.
Yes.
It is. Thank you, brother.
Okay,
actually, thank you for your meaning, but I didn't want to disturb you while you were going through, and thanks for your.
Okay.
I think we are blessed because I think through you, Bhagavan is teaching us Rudram. So thank you.
I think because of this, actually, I'm studying. I'm the biggest beneficiary. Actually, I don't get to share everything which I learn, but I think Swami will, in his own way, teach all of you anyway.
Yes.
Sai Ram. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.